Something known as a la kachuu, or grab and run kidnappings, continue to be a big problem in Kyrgyzstan. Now, this is where a man will see a woman, or in some cases, a teenager that he wants to marry, and he will literally gather his male friends, kidnap her, force her into his home where his family is waiting to pressure her so she marries him. In most of these cases, the women do cave into the pressure and they do marry him. Now, about 40% of women in Kyrgyzstan have been victims of this, and about 2/3 of them are non-consensual. So there are some cases where there is a prior agreement, because this is traditional, and there is some cases where there's prior agreement where the woman knows that it's going to happen and it happens and it's fine. But in 2/3 of the cases, it is non-consensual.
So I want to hold on to that picture for a second and explain what's going on there. So Newsweek covered this, and they have a bunch of incredible pictures of women being kidnapped. And then the one where you're seeing the elderly woman kind of talk to the younger woman.
Or make her extremely uncomfortable, as you can see in that picture.
Yeah, as she's crying there, the younger woman is. Basically, that's the elders of the guy's family convincing the woman, you need to stay and you need to get married to this guy. And this lasts for many hours, and oftentimes it's successful. Even though the woman says no, 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 in the beginning they wind up convincing her.
Yes.
What's particularly noxious is that oftentimes the parents of the woman will come in and say, well, you're already impure because you entered the guy's house.
Exactly.
So you should stay and get married to him. No one else will have you anyway.
Yes, so that is exactly why 84% of the kidnapped women end up agreeing to the nuptials, which is insane. I mean, think about that. I mean, they have a big problem in the country right now when it comes to divorce, when it comes to domestic violence. And part of the reason why is because these women are being forced into marriage at such a young age with complete and utter strangers. So it's scary stuff. I mean, it makes me realize, we obviously have our issues here in the United States, but you don't have to worry about randomly getting kidnapped by someone that you met once at a supermarket and he happens to believe that he fell in love with you at first sight.
Yeah, only the CIA randomly kidnaps you here.
That's true. Yeah.
So, but not random guys. Look, Kyrgyzstan is a Turkic country, and so I actually understand ala kachuu. Al means take, kachuu means run away. Okay, so you take her and you run away. Now, in Turkey, this doesn't happen, but in some of the Central Asian republics, which are Turkic, it apparently still happens, especially in Kyrgyzstan. So I can say without any bias, this is a bad part of your culture. And I know people love to make the argument like, hey, you can't judge.
Oh,
and
please. Please.
Yeah, and there's different cultures, and this is our culture, you don't understand. No, I do understand. And it's ridiculous, it's antiquated, and by the way, it's perverted from the old ways.
It is perverted from the old ways. Can I read you a quote really quickly?
Yeah, I want to get to that because when you talk to the elders in Kyrgyzstan, they said this is not how it used to happen. So it actually wasn't. Like you would think like in the past that it was worse. It wasn't. It was better in the past. Go ahead, Anna.
So Newsweek did speak to an elderly couple. They got married in 1954. And one of them said the following: "We don't like the modern way of bride kidnapping. When we were young, it was consensual kidnapping," which sounds kind of funny, by the way. "We knew each other well and exchanged love letters before kidnapping. Nowadays, young people violently kidnap women, and this is not our tradition."
And so I think that what they're referring to there is, look, it was a kind of a way of eloping. It was a way of saying, hey, we have these enormous pressures, not, obviously before we're married, to not see each other, not to have any contact. So we do kind of like a fake kidnapping so that we can be together, right? Now, if that was part of your tradition and it's consensual, well, that's a whole different ballgame, right? But when it's non-consensual, we're not having a conversation. Then if you think that's your culture, number one, it appears you're kind of wrong. And number two, that sucks. So there are parts of cultures that just suck, like female genital mutilation. Okay, unacceptable. Sorry if that's your culture. Your culture is wrong, okay? So women not being allowed to drive, not being allowed to leave the house without a man in Saudi Arabia, wrong, okay? And who am I to judge? It's just being rational, okay?
Yeah.
So when you say to a certain subset of your citizens, you don't get the same rights, you don't get to consent, I get to kidnap you, I get to rape you, I get to put you in the house, not let you out, etc., or I mutilate your genitals, well, you're taking away their rights, so you don't get to say it's my culture and hence I did it to someone else.
And I should also note that back in 1994, they outlawed this practice, but authorities often just look the other way when it does occur. There was one case fairly recently where a young girl committed suicide after she was kidnapped. She was kidnapped, raped, but she escaped after 2 days, and then she hanged herself. And the man was prosecuted as a result of that. But for the majority of cases, authorities do look the other way and allow this to happen.
And some of what I'm saying is just simply empirical. So in this, because of this tradition, it causes significantly higher rates of domestic abuse, divorce, and suicide.
Yep.
You don't say. Of course it does. So it's empirically not leading to good results. It's leading to terrible results. And that's outside the fact that you kidnapped her in the first place, right? And then it leads to bad results. But the kidnapping was plenty bad result to begin with. Now, in one of the cases that Newsweek documents, they had this girl who they tracked this girl who was kidnapped, and then she was told to stay, etc. And then finally, she gets out of the situation, and she marries her boyfriend.
Her real boyfriend.
And then that's when I was like, whoa, wait a minute. And she told the kidnapper, she's like, but wait a minute, they had already seen each other a couple of times, not on dates, they'd just like seen each other in the market or whatever, right? And she's like, you already knew I had a boyfriend. He's like, yeah, I don't care. So can you imagine that? You're in the mall and somebody just kidnaps you. And it's like, that's it, you're gonna be my wife. What the I didn't agree to that.
It was
but
her
wait, I was
fault
going out
for
with
being
John.
At the mall, Cenk. She shouldn't have been at the mall, just like girls shouldn't dress provocatively if they don't want to be raped.
I mean, the idea that somebody's got a boyfriend or doesn't have a boyfriend and you can just kidnap them and say, that's it, you're my wife now. How is that not insanity in any culture or any nation?